Millionaire Daniel Whitaker stood frozen on the terrace of his Rhode Island estate, watching a moment unfold that pierced deeper than he expected. Down in the meticulously landscaped garden, a black bricklayer in a dusty work shirt and faded jeans knelt by a little girl and gently spooned oatmeal into her mouth. Her name was Lily. She was 8 years old, blind, and Daniel's daughter. The same daughter he hadn't been able to face since the accident 2 years ago that left her without sight. The man feeding her, Elijah Brooks, spoke with a tenderness Daniel hadn't heard in his home in what felt like forever. "Just one more bite, Lily," Elijah coaxed gently. She laughed, a clear, joyful sound that Daniel hadn't heard from her in months. Lily reached up and touched Elijah's face with practiced accuracy. "Tell me again what the tulips look like," she asked. "I want to see them through your eyes." Daniel's stomach clenched with guilt and anger as he shrank back into the shadows. How was it that a man who had known his daughter for mere weeks could connect with her more deeply than her own father could? Whitaker Enterprises dominated real estate markets across the nation, building luxury residences and corporate towers alike. But Daniel couldn't rebuild the bridge to his own child's heart. The accident that had changed everything occurred on a seemingly mundane Thursday. A sharp curve, a speeding drunk driver, and in a split second, Lily's world had gone dark. Daniel had been behind the wheel. Though he escaped physically unharmed, emotionally he had withdrawn into his business, his guilt, and the echoing silence of his mansion. He paid top-tier staff to care for Lily, but he couldn't bring himself to be around her. The arrival of the landscape team led by Elijah should have been insignificant, a renovation project to distract from the hollowness of home. But Elijah's presence brought something unexpected: joy to Lily and turmoil to Daniel. "Mr. Whitaker," his housekeeper, Mrs. Graham, interrupted his thoughts. "Your call with Tokyo is waiting." Daniel nodded and turned away from the garden. On his way to the study, he paused before a portrait of his late wife, Anna. "You'd know what to do," he whispered. "You always did." That evening, he learned from Mrs. Graham that Lily had skipped her third piano lesson in a row. "She told the nurse she doesn't want to play anymore," the housekeeper said gently. "Said she can't see the keys." Anna had been a concert pianist. Lily had inherited her passion. The news hit Daniel like a tidal wave of shame. Unable to sleep, he wandered downstairs for a glass of water. Voices floated in from the garden. He cracked the back door and saw Elijah and Lily sitting by the koi pond. "My dad doesn't love me since I went blind," Lily said softly. "He can't even stand to be near me." "Don't say that," Elijah's voice was firm yet kind. "Adults don't always know how to show love, especially when they're hurting too." "Did you ever lose someone?" she asked. A long pause. "Yes. My daughter Zoe. She was about your age." Daniel stiffened. "She had leukemia," Elijah continued. "We fought hard, but she didn't make it. What I learned, Lily, is that the time we have with those we love is too precious to waste." The truth of those words struck Daniel like thunder. 3 days later, Daniel received a confidential background report on Elijah. It revealed the man was not just a bricklayer, was a former civil engineer with honors, once married, now widowed. His daughter Zoe lost to what was labeled terminal leukemia. After her death, he left his career behind and began manual labor to stay grounded. That night, Daniel did something he hadn't in years. He sat by Lily's bedside and gently brushed her hair as she slept. The next morning, Lily found her father waiting at the breakfast table. "How about a picnic in the garden today?" he asked. Her shock quickly melted into a beaming smile. "Really? You're not too busy." The day was awkward. They sat on a blanket near where Elijah worked. Elijah started to leave, but Lily called out, "Stay. Daddy's with me today." The two men exchanged a look heavy with unspoken meaning. Over the following weeks, Daniel began spending more time with Lily and Elijah. He observed, listened, and eventually joined. One afternoon, he asked Elijah, "How do you do it? How do you stay so present?" Elijah looked at him. "Zoe asked me to promise I'd keep seeing the colors. I didn't understand then. But your daughter, she's still here. She still has colors. You just have to look past your own pain to see them." Soon after, Daniel received an anonymous envelope. Inside was a medical file and a note. "You need to know the truth about Dr. Harding." The file detailed malpractice claims against the neurologist who had treated Lily, including hasty diagnoses and unethical trials. Among the documents was a name, Zoe Brooks, Elijah's daughter, misdiagnosed by the same doctor. Daniel's world spiraled. Was Elijah here out of revenge? He confronted Elijah that evening. I sent the file, Elijah admitted. I needed to know if you were paying attention. Harding didn't just fail your daughter. He used mine in an unauthorized trial. Zoe didn't have terminal cancer. I found out too late. Daniel demanded proof. Elijah handed him another folder. Dr. Nadine Fields, an ocular neurologist, reevaluated Lily's scans. Her condition may be reversible, but Harding can't find out. He's still conducting experiments. Why not go to the authorities? Daniel asked. I tried. He's protected. But you have the power to expose him. Daniel stared hard. Why did you really come here? Elijah's voice broke. Because Lily reminded me of Zoe. And no child should be a pawn for a monster like Harding. The next morning, Daniel arranged a covert visit to Dr. Fields. Her evaluation confirmed that Lily's blindness was likely due to an untreated nerve condition. Surgery could help. The revelation lit a fire in Daniel. He contacted top attorneys, journalists, and private investigators. Elijah compiled evidence and testimonies from other families. Together, they built an airtight case. When Harding was arrested, the news exploded. 40 children misdiagnosed. Families silenced. His medical empire crumbled in days. Outside the courthouse, Daniel and Elijah stood beside Lily. Her vision was slowly returning. Cameras flashed. Mr. Whitaker, what led you to this? One reporter asked. Sometimes, Daniel said, glancing at Elijah, you need to lose everything to realize what truly matters. Months later, the Zoe Brooks Foundation opened a treatment center funded by Whitaker Enterprises, staffed by Dr. Fields and dedicated to misdiagnosed children. Elijah was its co-director. Lily became its face. Daniel restructured his company, allocating a portion to building children's clinics. My daughter helped me see again, he said. On Zoe's birthday, Elijah stood beside Daniel watching Lily and other children playing. Do you think she knows? Daniel asked. Elijah smiled. Justice means her name will save others. That's enough. A plaque at the entrance read, in memory of Zoe Brooks, who taught us to see what truly matters. From grief came purpose. From guilt came redemption. From two fathers, once broken by life, came a legacy of light. And in that garden, where it all began, hope bloomed anew.